This video is going to be quite different to what I usually do. So instead of a Revit tutorial, we're actually going to have a Revit interview. So today I'm going to be interviewing Mocha Yang from Autodesk. She is the product owner at Autodesk, and you'll soon learn what a product owner in Autodesk is and what they do. So the idea behind this video is for all of us to learn how is Revit made behind the scenes, how are updates created, and how people at Autodesk choose what is going to be updated and how, and most importantly, how can we as users influence that. So I think this is a great opportunity, especially for beginners, because I'm guessing a lot of people on this channel are beginners in Revit or they're intermediate users, and they have very specific and different needs to experts who have been using Revit for 5 or even 10 years. Now at Autodesk, usually this feedback comes back from experts because beginners usually don't know that they can actually provide feedback. So that's why I think this is a great opportunity for beginners to have their voices heard and perhaps influence a little bit in how Revit can cater to them a little bit better. So without any further ado, let's jump into the interview. So hello, Mocha. Thank you for joining me for this call. I'm really excited to have you on my channel. And just to get started, this is something that I didn't know at first. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do at Autodesk? You're a product owner, so what does that even mean, and how does that work inside of Autodesk?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you for having me today in this conversation, and hello to the audience of Balkan Architect. So I work as a product owner at Autodesk. I joined Autodesk 4.5 years ago, and since then I have been working with Revit. Firstly, I was a user experience designer, and then I transitioned to a product owner. Like most of the audience here, I also have an education background in architecture, which is also very common in Autodesk, as many people here also have experience in the AEC industry. And this experience allows us to emphasize better with our users. That is also why I'm so motivated in solving the problem for our users, because I was also one of you folks, and I can also feel the pains that you told us. So as a product owner, my job is to understand the needs of our users and translate these needs into features that our development team can build. And I work closely with the developers and also experienced designers and quality assurance engineers in a team. And our goal is to solve the right problems for our users in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you're kind of managing a set of tools that that needs to be built or I guess adjusted or modified, upgraded in the future, and then you see kind of what's the best approach.
Yeah, right.
Okay, perfect. And just one question, kind of on those lines you've mentioned. So you have the architecture background. What kind of drove you to go to work with Autodesk? Were you always kind of software oriented, and then it was a natural next step, or were you a BIM manager or something like that? How did you make that leap?
So how I turned from architecture to the user experience or product design is I feel that my interest is more like solving the actual problem for the individual end users. So that bring me to study the service design after graduated from architecture. And then I found like my knowledge in the architecture and also for the knowledge of service and experience design can fit perfectly in a role in the Autodesk. So that's why I seek this job and hope to help they to like work with the tools better in their lives, and yeah, just to make people's life easier by doing some enhancements in the software.
Okay, really interesting. I've just
Yeah.
created a video a couple of weeks ago about how it's really powerful when you can connect two passions, two interests into one, and then that makes you a very powerful individual in terms of your job and career. So it sounds like something that you have done here. So for the next thing that I would like to ask you is just kind of your day-to-day job, and I understand you help on the user experience, and how does that look like? How does the inside of the factory look like when it comes to updating, let's say, a tool set in Revit?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our process often starts with discovery, and we gather the information about the problems our users met, and we try to understand their workflows, their needs, and identify the gaps between the current workflow and the desired workflows. And once we have a clear understanding of the problem, we move on to the product delivery, and we will develop different solutions based on the identified opportunity, and we iterated these solutions again and again based on the user feedbacks. So yeah, I know we will talk more about how your feedback will influence how we make decisions. Yeah, and I can also give you an example based on a feature we released in the Revit 2025 version. So if you know that in Canvas wall wrapping control tool, it actually started from a Revit idea, which is posted by a customer, by a Revit user, saying like, can we have wall wraps at end one and end two as instance parameters? So from that piece of idea, we conducted a few user interviews, and we asked users to show us how they manage wall wrappings in their projects. And we found that they need to duplicate wall types in order to have one end of the wall wrapped and the other end of wall not wrapped, which is very time consuming, and we know that will result in more chaos in managing these wall types. So after understanding this problem, we developed some solutions, and we also made some prototypes quickly and showed them to a group of Revit users and gather feedback. And from this feedback, we realized that although we heard of asking for parameters in the beginning, we found that having in-canvas controls will be more easy to use and learn. So we implemented design like that. And also before rolling out that feature, we had a lot of rounds of testing with the users in the Revit preview release. We will also talk about later, and we ensure that the good quality of that feature before rolling out.
Okay, that's really interesting. So it
Yeah.
kind of goes from just the comments and ideas from the users, then you kind of have to brainstorm how to actually make it work for everybody. I'm guessing that
Yeah.
everybody has kind of their own way of working in Revit, and everybody would like their own custom tools, but of course it can't work like that. So you kind of create this design that would accommodate the large number of users. Okay, so in this whole process, what is kind of the most challenging part? Where are kind of the biggest challenges in getting this new update through and making sure that it's going to be accepted properly by the community?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like you mentioned, different users may have their own customized ways of using Revit. So it's very challenging to balance all the needs from all types of users. For example, users with different level of familiarity with Revit. So that's why we wanted to connect more with new Revit users so we can have enough representation of all the user types to understand the problem holistically when we design and develop these new features.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really kind of something that really got me thinking in terms of just how new users and experienced users have different needs, and because I'm obviously working in bringing people into Revit, getting them up to speed, and making it as easy as possible to learn something as complicated as Revit. I understand it can be really difficult for them when they see this. Okay, so there's another layer of tools added to that, and then another layer of tools in addition to that, and so on. So it can be really complicated and overwhelming. So it's really kind of making a fine balance between what the experts need and also making it
Yeah.
just uh, let's say simple enough for the beginner to be able to use. So I
Yeah.
understand kind of the duality between those two sides and how it can be difficult to get them to agree. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So when it comes to the Revit community, and in this case, my audience, everybody watching this video, how can we help improve Revit? Especially my audience, there's a lot of beginners, a lot of students, a lot of people that have been working perhaps in AutoCAD. Now it's time for them to upgrade to Revit, and they're in that beginner stage. Luckily, this audience can give you some of that input on the user experience of a beginner. So how can this community help Autodesk make Revit better for everybody?
Yeah. So we have a lot of different channels that you can contribute and actually influence the Revit product. And these channels will require different level of involvement. So you can choose any of them based on your like preference or your time and effort. So I can give you introduction of all of these channels one. So the feedback channel, which require the least time, is the Autodesk AEC Public roadmaps. So you can visit our public roadmap and offer feedback to Autodesk development team on individual features. And you can mark these features as critical, important, or nice to have. And you can also share a note to provide more content.
So this is
Yeah,
for
and
existing features that, or not existing, but features that are kind of in the works, and you can provide feedback on those.
yeah, that will be an introduction of the features on our
Mhm.
roadmap. So that was something planned for the future, but you can have you can see an introduction of these new features and share your thoughts on that.
Perfect. Okay, so
Like,
one
yeah,
thing
and
to one thing to mention for everybody listening, I'm going to be leaving a link both in the cards up and also down in the description of this video. So for all of these options for community involvement when it comes to Revit updates and upgrades, so links will be there, so you can kind of choose your level of involvement and you can get started there. So you can check out those links. So now, yeah, please continue to the next level of involvement.
yeah, okay, thank you. And another way to contribute without too much effort is the Revit ideas. You can share the ideas for future product features directly with our team, and you can also collaborate existing suggestions with your peers. And also the heat of the ideas, like how many votes on it, will be influencing our product map and how we prioritize our features.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is that side where you kind of this is the idea of a new feature, and then people can vote, and then you can see does the majority need it to be one way or the other, and then you can kind of create this informed decision moving forward. Okay, perfect. Are there any other ways
Yeah, exactly.
of providing feedback?
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to contribute even more, you can join the Autodesk research community. And here you will be able to take part in the invite-only user interviews and also usability testing sessions and also some surveys. Also, we have an exclusive community hub for the community members. And in the community hub, you will see the research result shared in that hub. So you can see like how your input will impact the decisions and the next steps of our product and features.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, here I would just like to share that I did once participate in, or twice perhaps, in these interviews, and it's really fun. It's like they show you a new tool, and then it's like a little test.
Yeah.
How would you do something like this? And then just to see how intuitive the tool is. So it's really fun. Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Right. Yeah. Thank you a lot for contribute your ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so and is that it in terms of how my audience or how all of the viewers can help contribute in terms of the new updates for Revit?
Um, Actually, if you want to be like very highly involved in our
Hmm.
development process, there's also another channel. It's called Revit Preview Program.
Hmm.
So in this channel, you can actually test the new features before they are released, and you
Hmm.
can provide feedback directly to the development team. And we also have a dedicated forum for you
Hmm.
if you join this Revit preview. And here you can give feedback to like early prototypes and ideas of new features. And you can also co-create with the development team to decide on the future of these new enhancements.
Okay, okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, I think this is really great for people when they feel like Revit should be working a little bit differently
Yeah,
according to their needs. Well, now they have this opportunity to actually contribute and have their voice be heard and perhaps make an impact and bring or help contribute, bring another feature. So yeah, this is
yeah.
really interesting. Yeah,
Sorry to
so
interrupt,
yeah.
Phyllis. Yeah, yes, I forgot to mention there's one more
Mm,
one
okay,
more
yeah, please do.
of contribution. Yeah, so if you joined whether the Autodesk research community or if you join the Revit preview, you will also have a chance to participate in a regular bi-weekly session with the development team and review the progress of a new feature. So here you will be able to see the latest progress and provide your feedback directly to the developers face to face. That will be a very close collaboration with our team. And that requires some of your effort and time. We understand that, and we are really appreciate if you can join us in the progress and help us define this product.
Okay, so yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
that's all
interesting.
the channels.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's all the channels you can contribute.
yeah, it's really interesting to have all of these different levels of involvement. I think it's really great, so people can choose depending on their time or their kind of how much they really want to get involved. They can do that, but it's nice to hear that you can actually be in contact with the development team and kind of have your voice be heard in that part of the process. So that's really interesting. Okay, so yeah, that's how Revit is made, and I really like this approach where users have a lot of input. It's just a question of different users having different input. So of course, not everybody is going to be happy all the time, but or with every feature, but hopefully as more people participate, I guess more people will have kind of that knowledge of how it looks on the other side and how everything is made. Okay, so thank you so much for coming on to the channel. I'm sure that that everybody here will appreciate you kind of giving us a little glimpse behind the curtain and what it looks like to actually create Revit and create all of the tools within Revit. Do you have anything else that you would like to add or you would like to say to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So actually, our team is running a survey, and we are especially interested in the feedback from you users. So because our team is working on wall-related features, we wanted to know your opinion on the existing features about wall modeling in Revit. So this will help us to set up a baseline and help us to measure our progress with the new enhancement to see if we are going on the right direction. And for the new enhancement of wall-related features, you can actually test these if you join the Revit preview. Yeah, so we would like to invite you to fill out a survey for us, which will only take you a few minutes, but your feedback will assist our team align our goals with your needs and better prioritize the new features about wall-related functionalities.
Okay, perfect. So everybody watching this video, I'm going to be including a link to that again in the description of the video, so you can fill out the form. So if I understand correctly, so this is for beginners to give their feedback about the wall tools or wall features, and this is something that's then going to help inform the design. And of course, if you want to check these new tools out and new features, yeah, go to Revit Preview and sign up there. So that's really interesting. I know I will definitely be checking it out on a Revit Preview. Okay, so thank you so much,
Yeah,
Mocha. Thank you for this opportunity to get involved in developing the Revit tools, and thank you so much for your time.
yeah, no problem. And thank you so much. We're so looking forward to hearing your feedback to us.
Thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to check out my website, balkanarchitect.com, for more Revit courses. There I have over 120 hours of content, and I'm adding more each week. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and also I've added a video over there that might interest you as well.